Good evening to all.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah. PPT is visible, ma? PPT కనిపిస్తుందా? Okay, after the fourth unit and the next fifth unit, we are going to discuss about the public choice approach. So in the previous classes, we have gone through the concepts like comparative public administration, development administration, and 3 Minno book conferences. So after that, we are going to focus the public choice approach. This public choice approach is one of the important stage in the discipline of public administration. So in this public choice approach, we need to go with what is the meaning of public choice approach actually? What is the context of public choice approach? Who are the prominent persons in the public choice approach?
Everyone, please mute yourself.
Yeah, please mute. Someone is talking. So the public choice approach is related to the theory of traditional public administration actually. So this is generally focus on efficiency, effectiveness, and economy. We can call 3 E concepts. But the traditional administration is outdated. So the public administration, public choice approach generally focus on the government should focus with the people views according to people ideas. So 19th century, this has started. The public choice, somebody's children is talking, getting some disturbance. Please mute yourself, please. So in this public choice approach, meaning of public choice approach, the main important persons, William Miskin's views on public choice approach and new government perspective, political economy, and what is called public goods and services. So let me will go to this introduction. The public choice approach is propounded by the William Nixon and Vincent Armstrong. This, along with them, James Buchanan is an American 5th president of America, and Tulk, his name is Gordon Tulk. They are eminent, prominent persons in the public choice approach. So this public choice approach called for the economic theory of politics, the public theory of public policy making, and application of economics to politics. So when we are talking about the word public choice, the public choice word first used in 1967 and it has gained the importance in 1970s. The public choice is denied by Daniel Muller because the economic study of non-market decision making are simply the application of economics to the political science. So due to that, he said that denies that concept of public choice. Who is that? No, please unmute. Public choice approach is a part of what we call public administration in the study of public administration. Public choice approach emerged or evolved to maximizing the spending and maximizing the productivity, minimizing the money and maximizing the efficiency of the work. It is generally focused on productivity. So as we discussed that traditional public administration, which focus on 3E, but whereas the public choice approach, according to people opinion, public choice, the government has to work. That is a public choice approach. So in the public administration, Woodrow Wilson generally focus on the science of administration. So he said that remarkable changes should be have to taken place in the government. On the basis of the remarkable changes of the government changes have taken place in the public choice approach. Means government, rowing government, steering government to just supervising government has become it. So they don't want to go more governments. They want more best services. So generally this public choice approach sets for the new paradigms in the study of public administration. Like the new public administration, public choice theory, critical choice theory or critical theory, and new public management we have. So this approach, this public choice approach lead to attack on the state monopoly. Means the state have the alone will try to lead it. So the state dictatorship has to close and need to end. So they have supported that institutional pluralism. So state is a one institution which will try to provide the facilities. Actually, they want to institutional pluralism. So many organization has to provide services to the people. So that is based on the, we can call institutional pluralism. So what is public choice approach? The meaning, please listen carefully. Public choice approach is a part of public administration. So this, it is evolved to control the spending of money or minimizing the spending and maximizing the productivity. So generally we can see that one, the public choice approach, according to people opinion, government has to work. The traditional public administration, which was ascertained by the, or said by the Woodrow Wilson generally, which has focus for the science of administration. So in that he said that, he remarkably said that government has to change. So here government is changing. So in the new public choice theory, government has changing. So what is the change? According to public opinion, government decided to work. So that is a new public choice theory. So this is the try to control the monopoly of the state, and it is again is the monopoly of the state, and it will try to support the institutional pluralism. Next, Osborne, while opposing the value of efficiency, questioned the belief that hierarchy is necessary, the most efficient form of government. So Vincent Ostrom says that democratic administration is to be valued precisely because it is the most efficient form of administration. So Vincent Ostrom says that the democratic administration is the best tool. It is a preciously valued because it is an efficient administration. So that democratic government has to practice. So the democracy is nothing but according to people wish or people opinion, it has to work. So due to that, the Vincent Ostrom supported for this public choice approach. So in that Ostrom public choice approach, he sought for the bureaucracy should be replaced by the public choice theory. So bureaucrat domination has to end. So it has to replace, the bureaucracy has to replace with the public choice. So public choice school oppose the domination of political bureaucratic combined over the society. So he says that in this PCA or public choice theory, public choice approach, they says that the domination of political and bureaucracy has to end, or they're opposite this one. So after the few these things, the bureaucrats and politicians are human beings, and so they behave the utility maximizers. So politicians are interested only the votes, but not the development of people. So due to that, they said that according to people opinion, that leader has to work. So then only when they're according to people opinion, if they work, we can see the good administration. So according to Wilson, good administration will be hierarchically ordered in a system. So it has to be hierarchically ordered. The principle of good administration are much in the same of any system. So this is about the introduction of this one. So next we can say that one in the public choice approach. The public choice approach theory focus on use of economic tool to deal with the traditional political science. So In political science, it is a subset of positive political theory that studies self-interest agents. So it was proposed that scholars, the economics discipline in 1960, actually, this was proposed in 1960. Please mute. So these theories, what do you call economic theory of traditional administration opposed by the bureaucratic model administration. So Vincent Ostrom, one of the important protagonists in the theory of public choice approach. So hierarchical ordering of professional trained public service. So he said that in the public choice approach, he says that a variety of different organizational arrangements can be used to provide different public goods and services. So generally he focused on that we need the different multi-organizational arrangements to fulfill the people needs. So that's why we can say that one, it is a multi-organizational concept or multi-organization, they welcome the multi-organizations in the public choice approach. That is a public choice approach. Then go to the Vincent Ostrom's views on public choice approach. In the examination point of view, they will ask that what is the Vincent Ostrom views on public choice approach? So he says that so it is opposite to the bureaucratic declaring as an anti-bureaucrat. So it is declared that a hierarchical bureaucracy is anti-bureaucrat. And according to PCA approach, which was said by Ostrom, he says that it is a favor of decentralization, participation of masses in the public administration. So public choice theory always favor for the decentralization, people participation. And this public choice approach believe the concept of institutional pluralism. So not the single government has to work. Many institutions has to work. Many institutions need to work for the development of the state. The state monopoly has to stop. Next one, it says that a decision-making process should be democratic. The decision is also democratic. So this is another element which has come under. Another thing is also, it is also opposed the politics administrative dichotomy. So this is said by the Woodrow Wilson. Politics administrative dichotomy, it has opposed. And hierarchical ordering of employees in organization and monocentric administration is also opposed by this new public choice approach or new public choice theory. So the features of new public choice approach. When we're talking about the public choice approach, the several public choice scholars have been awarded in the Nobel Prize in economics. Is James Buchanan and George Stigler, Gary Beckler, they have proposed for this public choice approach, and the politicians and bureaucrats all act in self-interest. They said that they are acting for the self-interest. The politicians acting for self-interest. So it has to control. So some considered in the public choice approach, they said that it is a branch of economics. I mean, the application of economic activities or economics to examination the non-market decision making. So it has developed by the number of eminent scholars in a variety of ways. In the different ways they have developed. But whereas there are few features, the public choice approach, which was the first unit to use that word in 1967 and 70, it has gained importance. So there are few features are there. The features of public choice approach, the first concept of public choice approach, the first feature of public choice approach, it is anti-bureaucratic approach. So it is opposite to the bureaucratic. And it critique of bureaucratic model of administration. It is criticize the bureaucratic model. Please remember features of public choice approach. First one, it is anti-bureaucratic. It is criticize the bureaucratic model of administration. Second one, it encourage institutional pluralism in the provision of public services. So in the public services, it encourages the institutional pluralism. Institutional pluralism is nothing but institution means organization. Means many organizations has to work, not single one. So here, another point, it support the plurality of government and public agencies on ground of consumers' preference. So this public choice approach, as I told you that in the starting, it has to work according to people opinion. So consumers' preference, whatever the consumers, whatever the public opinion will be there, according to public opinion, it has to work. So it supported the plurality of the government. So we can see the plurality of the government in the central level, state level, district level governments, not central and state level, we can say that one. So public agencies on the ground of consumer preference. So this is the another feature. Another feature of this one, it applies the economic logic to the problem of public service distribution. So it will apply the economic point of view. And this feature of public choice approach stands for diverse decision-making centers. So there are many decision-making centers will be there. They will take the decision. So this public choice approach encourages more competition in delivering of public services. So we can see that modern society, the modern government. So we are depending on the different organizations. Different organizations provide the different services. So this public choice approach encourages this type of system. And it emphasizes on privatization, contracting out to reduce the wastage. So this is one of the element in the public choice approach. We can see that even nowadays, the airport is privatized, airlines is privatized, telecommunication is privatized. Nowadays, we can see that one roads, toll gate. Toll gate is nothing but one fellow will construct the road and he will collect the toll gate tax. So this is one of the part in the public choice approach. Means people requiring services, further services, who are using those services, they are able to ready to pay the tax or fee, whatever it may be. So in the public choice approach, another concept, it lays dissemination of information on public benefit about the available of alternative to the public services. So these are all 8 points which come under the features of public choice approach. Once again, repeats you, public choice approach, generally, it is anti-bureaucratic approach. It encourages the institutional pluralism. It supports the plurality of the government. It applies the economic logic and it stands for the diverse decision-making centers. It encourages the competition. It emphasizes on privatization, contracting out, and it is disseminate the information for the public benefit. So these all will come under the features of public choice approach. Another concept in that one, public choice theory, the main assumptions. The public choice theory is based on many key assumptions. So this theory will try to focus on individual, assuming that individual decision maker, like the traditional economic man, so is a rational, self-interested, and seeks to maximize his own utilities. So this is the assumption. According to this means, individual try to seek the greatest benefit in any decision situation. So there are many assumptions here. First point, it focus on the individual assumption that the individual decision maker, like the traditional economic man. Next one, rational self-interested, and it seeks for the maximize his or own utilities. Thus, public choice theory focus on idea of public goods as the output of public agencies. So different kinds of decision or rules, decisions, institutions will result in the different approaches to the public choice. So this is the one of the what you call key assumptions of this one. Next one, I told you that mainly 3 persons in the public choice approach. Among them, I have shown that figure names also. So William Nixon, Vincent Ostrom, James Buchanan. So the first, William Nixon. So we will try to know about his concepts, what his main contributions in the theory of what we call public choice approach. Actually, William Nixon is one of the American president, the 5th president, I think. So William Nixon is an architect of Reaganomics. Means Reaganomics is nothing but is a person name actually. Reaganomics, the economic program, the program pursued by the Ronald Reagan. So on the name of Ronald Reagan, so it has started that. So on the basis of this one, on the basis on this concept, reduce the public spending, taxes, and government by regulating, controlling the money supply. So this is a concept of Reaganomics. Reaganomics is nothing but the concept Reaganomics actually on the name of Ronald Reagan. But this concept is introduced by the William Nixon. What is this concept says that? Reaganomics says that reduce the public spending, taxes, and government regulation, and control the money supply. So this is a concept of Reaganism. So next, Nixon says that he's an American economist. He was best known for the contribution to the public choice approach. We all know it. In the field that examines the bureaucrats, assumption that public officials, like private sector business, so generally act as an own self-interest So we can discuss the main areas which are come under economism. So bureaucrats generally act in their own self-interest. So in representative government, actually he wrote the book that is the Representative Government 1971. So in this book, he was focused on to propose a general rule of thumb known as the budget maximizing model, that the bureaucrats will always attempt to maximize their own budgets and power. So this is replace this is like it looks like a Karl Marx theory. So abolish the state because the state is an element of the what do you call elite people. So it is similar to that. So he's saying that according to in the William Nisken's theory of a public choice approach or public choice theory, in representative government he says that maximize model that bureaucrats. So minimize their own budget and power. So bureaucrats will try to increase the budget in simple meaning. So bureaucrats are difficult to monitor. So bureaucrats, we can't handle them because they are more powerful. So that's why we are not able to, what do you call, control them. So this is the one of the problem is here. This means they can either produce the goods and services for a specific budget or not at all. So if they want to do it, they will do it. Otherwise, they don't want to do it. They never try to do it. So this is the concept. In addition to bureaucrats can appeal not only the satisfying the citizenry as whole, but often provide a good or services that is a specific and special interest group. So they will try to provide the service to the special group. So this is one. Simple, we can say that one. Bureaucrats are doing something for in favor of themselves and their own people. But they have the capacity, they can produce our services. So this thing. This is according to Nixon's views on public choice approach. So what is the Nixon's view of public choice approach? Nixon's views on public choice approach is based on ergonomics. Ergonomics clearly defines that the economic program pursued by this, based on the spending the public fund and taxes and government regulation. So this is about the ergonomics. So in his book, The Representative Government, which was published in 1970, he focused on the budget maximizing model. The bureaucrat will always attempt to maximize their own budget and power. So bureaucrats are difficult to monitor, here as mentioned. So in addition to this one, bureaucrats can appeal not only to satisfy the citizens as a whole, but often provide good services. So this is about the Nixon's approach on public choice. Next, we can discuss the government in new right perspective. So government in what right perspective? Actually, this is a crisis of economic time. The economic crisis in a capitalist world at the start of 1980s has been matched by the determination shift from the ideology of economic policies. The ideology of economic policies has matched. And due to this one, this shift misleading, abbreviated as a move from Keynesianism to monetarianism. So the complete diverse in the new right policies. So they want to focus on the new right policies. Due to the 1980, the capitalist societies are facing the economic crisis. In simple, we can say that one. Government in the new direction or new right perspective. Actually, this concept is originated in 1980s during the economic crisis of the capitalist society in the world. So this has shifted that misleading, abbreviating as a Keynesian to monetarism. So to accomplish a diverse right policies, like all ideologies and policies, this shift means the new government in the right perspective shift, supported and promoted by academic arguments. So Friedman, actually 1971, the Nobel Prize winner for excellence in economics, he has been one of the advocate of the economic freedom and free enterprise. So we can call him, whom? Friedman. We can call him as the most for being an unabashed champion for the free market economy. His ideas, whose ideas? Friedman ideas, is outlined in his book, Free to Choose, which was published in 1980. So it will try to focus on, it will try to attack on inefficiency of Keynesian-driven Western government. Actually, what is a Keynesian? Is the name of the person. So Keynesian person-driven Western government, and pointed out the glaring failure of the state-sponsored welfare scheme. So that Keynesian model has failed. So due to that, the government has to go with the new perspective. So in this concept, Friedman defines that. Then he should for the benefit for low taxes and need for the denationalization means private, and deleveraging industry and services, and abolish of rent control, minimum wages, regional and industrial subsidies, and employment legislation. So all above where we can see that barriers to be efficient working of market economy. So Friedman argued that the government role should be limited to provide law and order, defense, and whatever the essential services. So in concluding, the Friedman, he defines that, he says that the government should minimize its functions. It has to, what you call, limited to its functions, only that law and order maintenance, defense, and whatever the essential services which is compulsory need to provide. So capitalism, voluntary interaction between the buyers and sellers of goods and services create economic freedom. So they want the economic freedom. So capitalists voluntary have to interact with the buyers and sellers. So this is the Friedman concept. And Friedman says that limited government. Friedman says that Thomas Jefferson's views on government. So Thomas Jefferson, he says that governments least the best. So he defines that the government which governs the least is the best. So they don't want more government. They want the best government. This is the concept of Thomas Jefferson. As per this framework, any government should have the just three primary functions. These are, first one, military or defense maintenance, enforcing the contract between individuals and government. Third one, protect the citizens against the crime or different, what you call, property crimes, etc. So this is a concept of Friedman advocated theory. In which concept? Government in the new direction. Please remember, government in the new direction, the concept which was started or emerged in the 1980s economic crisis. This concept is proposed by Friedman, who is a Nobel Prize winner in 1976 for the economic excellence. He wrote the book. That book is Free to Choose. In that, he has focused the market economy has to choose by the people. So in the market economy, Friedman argued that government had to minimize its functions, limited its functions. Government has to provide only few functions. Among these are important functions like law and order, defense, and essential services. So he has followed that. Thomas Jefferson's views. What is the Thomas Jefferson's? This is a famous definition. Remember that. Thomas Jefferson's views of government which governs the least is the best. This is the quote actually. So as per these one, so government has to go with a few functions, primary functions, mainly three functions. There is a military, maintenance of military or defense, or enforcing the contract between individuals, and protecting the citizens. So these are the main three functions which are common. So this is the new government in the right perspective, which was proposed by Friedman. Another concept in this one. The works of political economy. So the works of political economy during the Simon Challenge, another community of scholars have grappled with many of the same intellectual crises. The community of scholars in the public choice approach have been composed predominantly of political economists who have been concerned with the public investment and public expenditure decisions. So one facet of this work has been manifest in the benefit of cost analysis. In simple words, we can say that one, it has focused a programming planning budget system. So which analysis based on programming, and which will says the budget should be on basis of program, on the one particular program. So which will try to save the money of public or budget. So this is emphasized on that. Another concept, nature of goods and services. What is the nature of goods and services? In this concept, it has focused on the individual who self-interest in the rational or pursue the maximizing strategies to find themselves in a variety of situations. So nature of goods and services, it involves the production and the consumption of variety of goods. So in the political economics, in public choice tradition, distinguish between the private goods and public goods. So in this one, compare with the government, the private services will provide the best and quality services to the people. So that's why they want to encourage the private units and provide the market conditions to the private organizations. So the private organization will engage in the public goods. So these are highly individual goods. and people will enjoy, all consumers, without paying any price. Most of these circumstances. So in simple concept, we can say that one, government has to minimize its work and private organization has to provide the different services and goods and services. So this is the one of the element in this one. So when the government is withdrawn from the providing services to the people, then the money is going to save. And it is on another point, it will try to encourage the private organizations also. Due to that, it has focused mainly on the government is out and private in. So this is the concept of this one. So we can see this one. The public parks and education is easily accomplish the success because it is some part of these services is a handout to the private organizations. So this is another element of this one. Next one. The constitutional choice and collective action against a bureaucratic organization. So this is generally Ostrom defines that. The problem of collective inaction in overcome under somewhat optional conditions provided by the substantial anonymity can be substance. In generally, he defines that produce performance and consumer interest. So in that, according to public these things, they need to work. So majority vote and social preference. So according to this public choice approach, these are the main recommendations actually. So we have the bureaucratic organization also, one of the concept, I forgot that. Generally bureaucratic organization according to public choice approach, it is completely criticized by the public choice approach because the bureaucrat is dominating. So bureaucrats, what they want to increase the budget. So due to that, they want to control the role of bureaucracy in that. So majority vote and social perspective. So in the public choice approach, many scholars have concern with the effective decision making of the rulers. So the effective decision making of the rulers is possible with the right to vote. So that should be in right perspective. So the majority vote as a means of expressing the more preference to the particular person or particular community. So we can assume that it have to single what is people performance preference in ordering that. So that's why they are saying that the vote is one of the important element in this one. Next, main recommendations of the public choice approach. There is a scope to ask this question. There are what you call 8 to 10 main recommendations are there. Public choice approach mainly focus on reduce the discretionary power of the politicians and the role of the government. In simple words, the politicians and the government role has to reduce the government monopolies and ensuring the institutional pluralism. So the government role has to minimize, the monopoly has to control, reduce, and ensuring that institutional pluralism. We need to provide the institutional pluralism and reform the organization based on principle of disparate authority and competition. So another thing is that constitutional checks and increase the accountability of the government. So according to constitution, the bureaucrats has to work and they need to increase the accountability of the government. So government organizations accountability has to increase. So when the government accountability is failed, so that's why we call the CVC, Central Vigilance Commission, other organization, because the authority, the power has misused for the private gains. Means we can say that one single word, that is a corruption. So due to that, the constitution checks and increase the autonomy. This is the one of the major recommendation of public choice approach. And the role of government operation should be shifted to advisory and regulatory areas. So it is has to only advisory and regulatory, means look after the whether it's right or wrong, that should be there. And the functions like providing education, healthcare facilities should be optional for the government. So that's why we can say that one. We have the private education administration, private universities, private hospitals we have. So this is the one of the element of this one. Another thing which has come under here. The big government should give way to lean and thin government. Means the size of government should be reduced. So they don't want more government, they want best government. That is the main concept of public choice approach. Another concept is that expenditure incurred by the government should be reduced. And another thing is that public agencies also competition with the should be encouraged. The public agencies, whatever the government organizations there, they should also encourage the competition among them. So these are the main recommendations which are come under the public choice approach. So try to focus the main questions here. Discuss the causes for evaluation of public choice approach. Identify major conceptual debate of public choice approach. What are the major recommendations of public choice, public school for public administration? These are the long type answers. And short type of questions also there. What do you understand by public choice approach? So here you need to write what is public choice approach. So public choice approach, when it is started, and what are the eminent persons who are, I said the three persons, Nixon's and James and other persons. Discuss the features of public choice approach. I told you that 8 features. Explain the Niskensen views on public choice approach. So these are the main areas so which you need to focus. So these are the important one. Next, I will go to the another concept of another one, new public management. So what is new public management? So what is the importance of new public management in the administration? So we have the compared to public administration, Minabo conference. In that Minabo conference, second Minabo conference, we have the new public management. I think you have remembered that. First Minabo conference, which was held in 1968. Second, third is 2008. So 1988, when we had the second Minabo conference, in that they about the new public management, concepts of new public management. So the decisions of public administration have generally been concerned with the efficiency and economy of organization. So the ideas of administration become result-oriented and productive by the spending least. So the fascinating by the Wilson theory of search for the science of administration in 1920. The thinkers like Fayol, F.W. Taylor, Luther Gulick, Urwick have tried to develop certain principles for the systematic study of organization. Of course, in their main point of this one, they have contributed for the evolution of classical theory of administration. So there is a fall of the identification of this approach. The new theories have emerged. The new theories like human relations approach or behavioral approach. The human relations approach is nothing but Simon. Behavioral approach, others approach also came. What do you call Mary Parker Follett? These all will come under the human relations and behavioral approaches. The behavioral approaches, these are changes the place of the government. So they want to place the government changes. They want to change the government. So they want to adopt the technology. They want to go with the new social demands. So these all come under this one. So this is a lead to search for the new paradigm of public administration. So people want the new things. So they don't want the old administration, traditional administration. Due to that, they have focused on the new public administration, public choice theory, critical theory, new public management, etc. So the new public management generally focus on managerial tactics and managerial practices, which will try to focus mainly on private sector. So we can see in the response to the changing global phenomena, this new public management concept has been increased. In simple words, I can say that new public administration, new public management, it will try to the managerial technique. It's a new managerial technique. It will try to focus on private sector. And it's the response for the changing the global phenomena. Generally, new public management, due to the global phenomena, global changes, it has emerged. So we can say that one, new public management shift its focus from traditional public administration to public management concept. So it will try to focus on the modern concept of administration. So when we talk about the new public management, meaning and the concept of this one, the meaning of new public management, it has been defined. The new public management is evolved in 1980s. It will try to represent an attempt to make the public sector more business-like and try to improve the efficiency of the government. And it will try to emphasize the centrality of the citizen. So it will try to focus the citizen-centric. The citizens are main points for this one. The services are customers to be public sector. The term which we are using that new public management first used by the Christopher Hood 1991. So in examination point of view, you need to write only main synopsis, main points. Please remember. Yes. కొంచెం మ్యూట్ లో పెట్టండి అది. So new public management, come to the point again. New public management, the word first used by Christopher Hood, 1991. So in his research paper titled A New Public Management for All Seasons. So his concept is that the principles, the management techniques which he introduced, these can be useful for all the sectors and all the seasons. So timelessly we can use that one. So this idea was further developed by the David Osborne and Ted Gabler. So in their book, they wrote the book, David Gabler and Ted Gabler. David Osborne, we can say that one. So they wrote the book, Reinventing Government. Please remember, this is an important book. Where is this? Yeah, okay. So that new public management, that is a reinventing government. So this is a book. These two persons have written that. Christopher Wood first used that word, new public management. Is David Osborne. Along with the David Osborne, I told another name also, Ted Gabler. They wrote the book that is they have written the book that is reinventing government. So in that one, how the entrepreneurial spirit is transferring the public sector, how it will be transferred. So it has focus on that one. So this is about the new public management. So new public management, the first, that concept has focused management techniques. The first word is used by Christopher 1991. So the concept is further elaborated or developed by the David Osborne, Ted Gabler in their book Reinventing Government, which was published in 1992. So they are supported for the scholars from the UK and Australia. So Jackson and other also enlarged this concept of public management. So that new public management emerged the Reaganian crisis of 1980s and political ideology, neoliberalism, right, what do you call, new right philosophy, public choice approach. So these are helpful for the develop for the idea of new public management. Please remember. So the idea of new public management generally based on Reaganism 1980s. I told you that Reaganism theory. So which will focus to reduce the economy and a tax, so not economy, taxes especially on public on burden, and political ideology, neoliberalism based for this one. So this is a new public management. So according to Christopher Wood, he says that public management or the new public management moves away from the traditional model of legitimizing public bureaucracy, such as procedural safeguards and administrative discretion, in favor of trust in the market and private business methods and ideas. So he has focused on different ideas, budget maximizing and self-aggregating. These are the two concepts which was proposed by the what you call new public management thinkers. So this new public management thinkers, the historically shift the state ideology. The state ideology has to change, like the traditional traditional type of to market type of these things. So neoliberal type of framework has to develop. So this is the new public management concept. So the new public management concept generally focus on new ideology. So bundle of a particular management approach it is focused on, and management techniques it has focused, and whatever the borrow from the private sector, all this from the borrow from the private sector. So this new public management is a managerial thought based on ideas of private sector is brought into the public sector, I mean government sector. So these many ideas reflected in the new public management similar with the modernization concept of good government. So whatever the concept we have in the good governance, transparency, accountability, so all will come under good governance. So the same thing will come under the NPM also. So this new public management propose the new point of view of towards the organizational design in the public organization. So this is about this one. So this new public management focus on few areas, that is called scope of the new public management. Scope of the new public management. The new public management generally focus on, we can say here, new public management involves distinguish from the large bureaucratic organization into smaller component organizations. So it will try to focus on outputs rather than inputs. Values for the taxpayer. So this will give the value for the taxpayer because the people are paying taxes, money, authority, and develop a point of services delivery. So this new public management have the flexibility, customer responsiveness. So due to that, we have the few scope points in this one. So according to Charles Wood, there are few elements which are come under the scope of the new public management. So in the examination point of view, they will ask this one. You need to remember these points. So hands-on professional management in public sector, first point. Second is explicit standards and measures of performance. So there are few standards are there for the performance. That is another one. Shift to disaggregation of unit in the public sector. Another one, shifted to a greater competition. So they want to focus on greater competition. Companies is inevitable in the public management, new public management, even the new public choice approach also. So it's a stress on the private sector management. So it will stress on the greater discipline. So these all come under the scope of the new public management. So core theme of the new public management includes, these are the another core theme points which are common here. We need to remember at least 4 to 5. It is a strong focus on financial control. It will give the value for the money. It will try to increase the efficiency. A command and control mode of functioning. Another one, introduce the audits and the transparency. It's a deregulating labor market. It discourages the self-regulatory power of professionals. So they don't do that self-regulatory. So according to that law or constitutional, they have to do it. Encourage more entrepreneurial government. It will try to encourage. And it will try to introduce a new forms of corporate governance. New governments has to introduce corporate type of governance they have to introduce. So we are all aware that if we have the corporate sectors, then it will be hamper the development activities. But thing is that in the new era of the present society, under the corporate responsibility scheme, number of organizations are providing different facilities to the people. So if you see that organization, it will try to provide the medical facilities, a school, park, and other things also. So introduce the more elaborate and evolved quasi-market system. So replace the management of hierarchy with the contract. So the all will come under the few points which are come under the core theme points which are come under the new public management. Remember that scope of the new public management point is that hands of the professional management and standards and measure for the performance. It will try to emphasize on output control, shift to disaggregation units to public sector, and a greater competition in the public sector, stressed on private sector style of management, stressed on greater discipline. Main theme areas strongly focus on financial control, efficiency, command and control mode for functioning, introduce the audit and transparent, this one, and discourage the self-regulatory practices, encourage more entrepreneurial governments, introduce new forms of corporate governance. So these all come under this one. So delaying and downsizing that. So downsizing the government activities, contracting of non-strategic functions. So contracting, outsourcing is a part of new public management. So we know that all organizations contract because this is a part of government. So they want to reduce the government burden. So next we can go with the reforms in the government. Reforms in the government, it will try to focus on the new public management. What it says that there is a need for the reforms in the organizations. Reasons for these one, to extend the unfolded government. So government is extended. So unfolded government is here due to that. And mousing the fiscal pressure and financial pressures on the government. Due to that, we need to reform the government. So we need to downsize the government. Budget has to downsize. And according to interest of the stakeholders, we need to do it. And global influence and international environment, we need to follow that one and increase the levels of citizen expectations and expectations of the international and national pressure also they need to do it. And they need to do the research for the institutions and academics and other organizations also. These all come under the reforming the government. So as we discuss about the reforming, so we have seen that many reforms in the ecology and economic, the what you call urbanization, technology and environment, global influence and government, all we have seen that. So this is common. And another concept of this one, new public management. So new public management is a paradigm shift, is a mode and a simple of this one. So it has focused from the post-bureaucratic to entrepreneurial government. This is the main concept which we discuss. So the bureaucracy, post-bureaucratic to entrepreneurial government. So bureaucratic type of mindset to entrepreneurial type of government, it has the development. So this is the concept which are come under. So NPM components, we have many components we have. So under these, we can discuss the main components of this one. So I'm focusing only on important points here. So this is try to focus on cost cutting, disaggregating traditional bureaucracy, same principles which are come under the scope of this one. Of course, few may be changed. Decentralized management system with the public agencies, separating the functions of providing public services, established market and quasi-market mechanism, emphasize on what we call performance management target, and introduce the contracting and outsourcing also will come under. So silent features of NPM, New Public Management, the traditional output-oriented administration, customer replace citizen administration, that is a production line, and major emphasis on cost cutting. Cost cutting, it will see the cost cutting and dichotomy between the core policy activities and adaptivity operations. So these all come under the what we call NPM concepts. So NPM as a neo-Taylorism. So as you know that Taylorism, neo-Taylorism, it will try to focus the application of performance evaluation techniques, assign personal responsibility, rewarding achievements, and punishing the punishing for the underperformance. So these all come under the neo-Taylorism concept. So entrepreneurial government is nothing but which is the catalyst type of government. Government should engage in the steering, not rowing. So government is a community-owned government and a competitive government. Government should be competitive. So these are the what we call entrepreneurial government concepts. And government should be result-oriented. And customer-driven government means on the basis of customer opinion, government have to run. Entrepreneurial government means it have to emphasize on earning the money, so rather than spending. So that is called entrepreneur. I mean, enterprising the government. Anticipatory government means it has to expect the future problems also. So it will try to identify the problem rather than try to curve after the problem or try to provide the solutions. So before occurring the problem, they will try to provide it. And a decentralized government. So this is the few concepts which are come under the entrepreneurial government. So these all, at glance, we can say that one. Improve the public management, reduce the budget, cutting size of the government, selective privatization of public enterprises. Here selective, only selective elements has to privatize. Remaining should not be do like that. And contracting out, all will come under the new public management, entrepreneurial government concepts. So these all come under the in these governments. So in this topic, they have asked the main questions here. Explain the difference between Taylorism and new public management. What, according to Osborne and Gabler Tate, entrepreneurial government. Another short question is here. Discuss the important features of new public management paradigm and estimate the utility of new public management for third world. So we need to write about the new public management. And what do you mean by entrepreneurial government? So entrepreneurial government, we see that economy point of view, it will try to earn the money. That is entrepreneurial government. So what gave the rise for the evolution of new public management? So this is the important one. Please remember. So discuss the new Taylorism suggests the traditional public administration. So critically evaluate the basic features of NPM, new public management. So those are the few important questions. Please remember that. So once again, repeat you because this title, this topic is little hard to remember. So here first you need to write what is the new public management. So here and what important persons. So important persons, David Osborne, Christopher Hood, and their book Reinventing Government, what they said about the new public management concept, and go with the meaning of I think some disturbance. So these are the points which are common. Again, I will show it to you. Scope of this one, core themes. Question: what are the reforms in the government? Next, reasons for the reforms. Here, new public management paradigm shift. We need to write about this one, and components of new public management. Here, the silent features, main features of NPM. So we need to write here this one. Another thing, neo-Taylorism. So that question we have, that neo-Taylorism. So we need to write about that one. So the entrepreneurial government. I told you that entrepreneurial government, this is complete slide. You take it, Osborne and Gabler, they said the main principles which are come under 10 principles, you need to remember this. So this is an important question, please remember. Write a note on entrepreneurial government according to Osborne and Gabler. So they will ask the question is here. So please remember. And first thing is, I want to suggest you remember their names actually. Whether it is a comparative public administration or Minobu conference or new public administration or new public management, whatever it may be. So intellectual response all will come under. So these are the questions which are come under here. I hope it is very clear to everyone. If you have any doubts, you can raise. So I will share the same PPT. No doubts, I think. So, okay, in the next session, we are going to discuss the new concepts. Yeah, I have in PPT we have the few same questions. Whatever the questions they are asking after completion of topic, say in this one discuss the importance of new public management paradigm. Remember, and in neo-Taylorism, another one is the evolution of new public management. Okay, in the short questions, entrepreneurial government, they will ask that. Okay, and the next topic we are going to discuss about the new public service. What is a new public service and what are the concepts which are come under new public service? The seventh topic. And eighth topic, it explains about the government to government. So this is the next one, public ones. Okay, I hope it is very clear to everyone. Somebody's okay. So I will share the PPT in your group. Okay, have a nice day.